Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in on this fine sunny day here in College Station for episode 93.
That's right. We have made it into week 7 of the NFL. And
Crazy week.
The Cowboys had a bye week, so good thing there's nothing to rant about there. But it was a very interesting week. Lots of very, very good games to see.
Yeah, finally some good games. I feel like we've been waiting a bit for those. But so welcome into Under Review, live from the 143. We'll start you off with the stat of the week, brought to you by Andrews Logistics. In the Cleveland Browns versus Indianapolis Colts game, there were 8 lead changes. It was kind of a crazy game. 8 lead changes. That is the most in 4 years in a game. So you could definitely put that game, because of the lead changes, one of the most exciting games in the last 4 years in the NFL because of the lead changes and the craziness of that game. So 8 lead changes. Pretty crazy. You don't really see that much anymore. So good game from Indianapolis.
Absolutely. Your player of the week is going to be Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. They've been on a tear this season, on a mission. Lamar looked really good this week. It was supposed to be a test because they were facing the Detroit Lions, who were also having a really great season, and the Ravens routed the Lions 38-6. It was not close, but Lamar finished with 357 passing yards for 3 touchdowns, and then he ran for 36 yards and a touchdown. And this game was looking like it was over after the first quarter.
It was
just a bloodbath from whistle to whistle.
It was one of those things that first quarter it was done.
Yes, absolutely.
It was 14-0, and they were driving again.
The Lions have a lot to figure out because they had been looking extremely good this year. Started out against the Chiefs and kind of wowed everyone week 1.
They've been wowing them ever since, too.
And then they've just been rolling week after week after that, and then came to a abrupt halt against the Ravens.
There was no defense.
It would be different if, let's say, it was 35-38 and they lost by a game-winning field goal or something, but it was 38-6. They did not even give themselves a chance.
I think, though, in the NFL, you every now and then, like the Cowboys had it, you have a game where you get blown out, and it's like, okay, we got to reevaluate. I don't think this game was as much about the Lions as it was about the Ravens. They look like they're finally getting some offense put together. Earlier in the season, we saw a lot of drop passes, a lot of inconsistencies on offense. Lamar Jackson looked great in the pocket, which has been something he's been getting criticized for his entire career because he hasn't been great as a thrower. Mm-hmm. So he was great throwing the ball out against a pretty good defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
He made all the right decisions in that game, looked phenomenal. The receivers looked great. So I think the Ravens are finally trending in the right direction. It's taken them a bit. It's a new offense for them, but it looked really good.
Also, that O-line looks really good for them because Lamar Jackson seemingly had like 5 minutes, it looked like, every time back there.
It's a good defense.
And so that's good because this just shows how lethal Lamar can be with a good, solid, clean pocket. And I think the Ravens should have a very good season. I do think the Lions will bounce back, though.
Yeah, the Lions will be okay.
It's week 7, all right? It's middle-ish of the season. So they've got plenty of weeks to work through the kinks and whatever wasn't working for them on Sunday, and they'll definitely be back. They're going to be in the playoffs, obviously, but they got plenty to work on.
So that was a really good game, a highly anticipated game. I would say there weren't very many games this week in terms of the other weeks that we've been looking at, but I mean, one of the biggest games. The Chiefs. You just got to talk about it. Divisional game, Chiefs-Chargers, always a good one between Herbert and Mahomes. It looks like the Chiefs are back to being the Chiefs. Travis Kelce had 180 receiving yards. Patrick Mahomes had 420 passing yards. I mean, the Chiefs' offense was rolling, and they look phenomenal. And it's kind of like the Ravens, but more you've been waiting on the Chiefs to figure it out, and it looks like they are clicking now. So that defense looks great. But the Chargers also, Herbert's not looking too good, Nick. A lot of people are wondering if
they got Kellen Moore this offseason, and they were Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, they picked him up from the Cowboys, and I think he was kind of thought to not necessarily be the saving grace, but have a positive effect on the Chargers organization. And, I mean, they're kind of looking just about
like
the
Cowboys.
same. Just about the same they had been. Speaking of, whenever we were watching that game, we saw him run it on 3 straight plays and go 3 and out. So that
brought back some memories because we used to do that.
Had some negative memories there. But Justin Herbert is constantly, I would say,
rattled. He looks scared.
Just cowered under the limelight. I mean, he has so much talent. There's so much potential there. Like, he has the ability to be a great quarterback. He just struggles to win games, unfortunately, for the Chargers.
Yeah, it's not looking too great for him right now. He's under a lot of fire. The head coach, Brandon Staley, is looking like it'll probably be his last year with the Chargers. They're not going to cut Herbert. They never cut the quarterback, but they'll probably fire the coach. But I would say it's on both of them. It's always it's on the quarterback, it's on the coach. They look terrible, but the Chiefs, on the other hand, they look great. And if I have to see anything else about Taylor Swift while I'm trying to watch a football game, I'm not loving that. I don't love the camera cutting her 25 times during the game.
That's aside from the game, obviously. That's not what Travis Kelce's thinking about at that moment. No. He's trying to compete for his team. Absolutely. Another breakout on that team was Rashee Rice. 5 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. They've
been waiting on a receiver.
The question would be, who are the wide receivers going to be on the receiving end? And Valdez-Scantling has done a great job, but he was kind of expected to be the guy. And then Rashee Rice, who is a rookie, has also been stepping up a ton this year. So you're just seeing the Chiefs' offense finally come together. They're all clicking, and so. It's just a good day for them.
Yeah, so let's talk about the one of the most disappointing, I would say, teams so far. The Bills-Patriots game. The Bills lost 29-25 to a terrible Patriots team. Nick, what do we think about the Bills this far? They're 4-3.
What I was going to say is, leading up to this week, from what we've seen from both teams, you were kind of expecting the Bills to win and it not really be close. But then the Bills also, they struggled last week against the Giants.
They got very fortunate.
I mean, they won, but it was a not impressive victory at all.
Some would say that they should have lost.
I mean, I think they should have lost, but that is completely aside from the point. But the Patriots have been struggling literally the entire season. I mean, Bill Belichick it's a whole new season of firsts for him. It was his worst home loss, his worst loss period. He got those in back-to-back weeks, and then whenever they saw the Bills on the schedule, I feel like everyone was like, oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. The Bills are going to smash the Patriots, but Mac Jones looked decent that game, and then Josh Allen is so inconsistent. He is so up and down. You don't know what you're getting with him from week to week, but he's a guy like Justin Herbert where it's, he has the ability. He has all the tools to be great, but he just can't perform at that consistently high level every single week.
Yeah, I think Bills fans and everyone in general is very disappointed in the Bills right now. They always come into the season as a top 5 Super Bowl contender, and I feel like every season they disappoint. And I saw this thing that Josh Allen, just because he lost to Patrick Mahomes in overtime doesn't make him an elite quarterback. Because I don't think that he's shown anything right now that he's an elite quarterback. He has nothing to show for his talent and the talent of the team that they put around him, because the Bills are a very good football team. But they haven't made it past the conference championship. Have they even made it to the conference championship? No, I'm blanking. But
I don't believe so. No,
I don't think they have.
Been
They haven't made it past the
tracks
divisional
multiple times
series. So Dak's been to the divisional series. I just want to put that in perspective. So I don't think you can call Josh Allen elite right now. He has a lot to prove, and it showed right there against a terrible Patriots team taking the loss. Now, like we said before, I mean, it's week 7, but they've lost 3 games. They're 4-3. They are not supposed to be 4-3.
And these are not losses to particularly great teams.
No.
I mean, a loss to the Patriots is pretty.
They lost to Zach Wilson.
Pretty
and the Jets.
horrible. Opening week, yes.
They lost this week against the Patriots, and I'm blanking on who they lost to before. They have not come against good teams that they've lost.
Well, also, another thing I was going to say was Stephon Diggs with 58 yards is pretty pitiful. Obviously, you can't pin that all on him, but I feel like he's in the same position of CeeDee, where it's like, if you're not hitting him for at least 80, 90 yards a game, that's not a formula for winning.
Yeah, you go as your team. You go as your.
I mean, this is one of the best
go.
wide receivers in the league, so he should be putting up at least 80, 85 yards a game.
Agreed.
If you want to succeed. And he was held to 58, unfortunately. He did have a touchdown, but he has to be involved. 6 catches that's just not enough, if you ask me.
Yep, disappointing showing from the Bills. Steelers-Rams. Steelers got the win over the Rams. Kind of a shocking, I think, outcome there. A lot of people have been down on the Steelers this season because their offense has not looked the way it should. But the Rams, Matt Stafford's been struggling. It's not looked pretty for Matt this season. And then the Steelers' defense really came out.
I was going to say, it was another offensive clinic for our boy Puka Nacua. He put up 154 yards this week. I mean, this kid is absolutely rolling. He's looked really, really great every single week of the season. And then there was a lot of question about how much production he would have with Cooper Kupp coming back. But his stats have remained the same as Cooper Kupp has come back. So really good for him. But also, with this game and the Colts and Browns game, people are on the referees' heads about calls being made
there were some
during these games.
calls during these games.
I mean,
very much so missed calls.
You absolutely have reason. You definitely have reason to be mad.
Kenny Pickett, with like 2 minutes left in the game, 4th and 1, tried to do a QB sneak, and he clearly did not even get close. They called it a first down.
You see the side, like literally from the TV.
He's behind the line of scrimmage.
It was like he didn't even give back to the line of scrimmage, and then somehow, some way, the line judge comes in and with a horrendous spot on the ball, and then they give it to him, and that just frustrated a lot of Rams fans. But
so
I mean, at the end of the day,
called to find that game. Steelers got the win. Flash over to the Browns Colts game. Browns have the ball late in the game. They're in the red zone, about to score. I think they're down by 5 or 6. Touchdown. They need a touchdown to win the game. And basically what happens is there's a strip sack on the Browns quarterback. Colts get the ball. It should be game over. Illegal contact is called in the end zone on something that was not illegal contact. There was barely even contact, period. You're like, okay, they get the ball. It's a first down, still in the red zone, closer to the end zone now. Next play, ball thrown way out the back of the end zone, not even catchable. They call pass interference. And so at that point, you basically hand the Browns the ball on the 1 yard line.
The reason why that one was a killer is because it's a double whammy there, because you get half the distance to the goal, which puts them at the 1, and then also automatic first down. So you put them at the 1 with 4 chances, and so that
kills.
That definitely is a game-defining call there at the end. I mean, you can't argue that one.
There were that was 3 terrible calls that decided the game. Basically, 2 games there, and there were some college ones that happened too, that we won't get into, but. I think refs should be under a little bit more scrutiny right now because of the game-deciding calls they're making. But obviously, refs are humans too, and they're not going to make every call. But there was some very big, egregious, blown calls in these games that fans of these teams are really not happy about. But anyways, let's talk about the Sunday Night Football game. Eagles-Dolphins. Eagles handled business, took the win 31-17. I know everybody now is hopping on the Eagles bandwagon again. Yep. They're all back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Eagles bandwagon. Y'all left for 6 weeks because they weren't looking great, but now they look good. So everyone's back. The Eagles are winning the Super Bowl now, Nick.
They ran their dumb little tush push about 17,000 times that game, and it worked every single time.
Guys,
they
let me
ran
tell
it.
you how to stop the tush push. Stop letting them
Don't
get third
give
and
them
one.
4th and 1.
Yeah, stop letting them have 1 yard conversion situations, and they will stop running the tush push. That's how you do it.
And also, we're seeing earlier how, Jalen Hurts, his knee is whatever. So they're trying to give him the out. So it's like, if they lose to the Commanders this week, it's like, oh, well, Jalen Hurts wasn't 100%. But then if they do win, it's like, look at what this guy does, even with injury or whatever the case may be. And so
We're
I'm not
used to
buying
seeing
it.
it as Cowboys fans. Media loves the Eagles for some reason. I don't know what it is, but the Dolphins they didn't show up late in the game when they needed to, and so the Eagles. Like we said, when you give the Eagles the lead, all they want to do is bleed the clock out.
This is just one of the Dolphins they're just one of the most high-powered offenses we've seen this season, and being held to 17 is pretty poor.
We're used to
if you
seeing
ask
this
me.
when the Eagles play a good team and we really need the Eagles to lose.
Absolutely.
The other team just folds. We're used to seeing it. And also, isn't it funny how Philly always gets these big games at home?
It is. It is very interesting.
Yeah,
they're getting to play Miami at home, but we got to go to San Francisco.
Tapes. We said the same thing last year about the season. It just seemed like every big game for Philly was in Philly, and that's fine. Like obviously, there's just teams.
Keep stacking the odds against us.
Yeah, certain teams in life get the nod from. It seems like
we just don't get respect here in Dallas,
and that's okay.
You know what? Who cares?
Yeah,
all right. Despite that, you got to go out and win.
It's on us to prove them wrong, and so. We will hopefully be able to handle that. We're playing Philly in a couple weeks, so
yeah,
looking forward to that game. Hopefully Micah has himself a feast.
Oh my goodness.
On Jalen. I hope he has 4 sacks, at least.
I'm already calling it. He's gonna have a strip sack for a fumble recovery and a touchdown.
He should. But the Eagles take the win. There's really nothing to say there. The Dolphins kind of folded in the end, and that's what happened. The Dolphins are a good team. There's really nothing to be worried about if you're a Dolphins fan. They look great. And the Eagles, when you let them get ahead, they can run the clock out. That's how the Eagles do.
Yep.
A.J. Brown, he's a stud, unfortunately. He's always putting up 100-yard receiving games right now. So I would say him and the defense are carrying the Eagles right now. I would not say that it's their quarterback because he doesn't look great.
Well, but he can run the tush push, so he's got that working for him. But
which he doesn't.
Another quarterback who's under a lot of scrutiny right now is also Jordan Love. The Packers fall to the Denver Broncos, who have been, they got embarrassed a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. They gave up 70 to the Dolphins, and then they come out and beat the Packers at home, and a lot of people were shocked and questioning the move of having Jordan Love as quarterback 1. And, well, just because people were saying, he's been under Aaron Rodgers for the last couple years. This is not his first year in the league, but I do think you have to give him a little bit of time to grow because this is his first season as the starter.
If you're following the blueprint, Aaron Rodgers' first year as a starter was terrible.
Yes.
So, I don't think there's anything to really go crazy about. The Packers have shown they're a patient organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to let him have a year as a starter. He hasn't started before. He threw a costly interception, but I think that comes with time and experience. So not a crazy game there, but he did throw a game-ending interception. But the Packers are already not good this year.
I just have seen a lot of uproar with the fans and Jordan Love. It's just because they're so used to having Aaron Rodgers, that when you're getting anything less than that it's just tough to watch.
Hey, finally a good Monday night game, though, and a good outcome. For us. 49ers went down to the Vikings 22-17. Vikings heavy underdogs coming into this game without their best receiver, Justin Jefferson. But Kirk Cousins, he said, you know what, I'm going to step up to this challenge.
Finally wins on prime time.
Mm-hmm. You'll love to see it, though. You'll love to root for Kirk Cousins. Rookie Jordan Addison, 7 receptions, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
They lost Justin Jefferson recently, and he's not going to be back for a little bit. And Jordan Addison just decides to step in and fill that role.
That's a Justin Jefferson.
I was going to say that is a Jay Jettas stat line right there. Obviously, not saying they're the exact same because Justin Jefferson has done this every single week he has been in the league. But Jordan Addison is just stepping in and filling the role, saying, hey, I got it, while you're getting rested, getting better. The Vikings defense held a high-powered offense of the 49ers to 17.
Shocked everyone because the Vikings defense has been terrible this year. And so Brock Purdy threw 2 picks. Christian McCaffrey only rushed for 45 yards. I think everyone's overreacting on Brock Purdy right now. I don't think that Brock Purdy is terrible because he's played a couple bad games. Like, the dude was 15-0 in the regular season until this. So I don't think there's any need to
also, with
bench
that,
Brock Purdy.
They're still 5-2.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the 49ers are okay.
They will survive. Okay,
They're very banged up right now.
One of the best defenses in the league. They were missing their 2 of the stars they had in Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams. So it's like, you're going to struggle. There are going to be noticeable hiccups in your offense when you don't have those 2 guys. But they're going to be fine.
It's tough to go 17-0 in an NFL season. That's why nobody ever does it. So even the good teams lose a game or 2. But the 49ers will be okay. I was just happy to see that the Vikings aren't completely terrible. Like everyone's been saying they are. Love Kirk Cousins.
They have the weapons to be.
They should be a lot better than
good
they are.
teams. I mean, they're a sneaky 3-4, is what I would say.
Yeah, I don't think that the Vikings season is completely over. I mean, they have to really, really push it if they want to make playoffs. But I think
everyone
they could be
wants to
teams.
show praise and whatnot for the Eagles, and the Vikings beat the 49ers and hung with the Eagles by like a few points. So they got that working for them.
Agreed. But it was a good Monday night game. We saw some good primetime games this week. So
I was going to say,
happy about that.
With that, I just like to read off some stat lines.
Okay.
Our boy Kirk Cousins out here, this is just this season, 2,057 yards, 16 tutties for 5 interceptions, okay? And just to give you an idea of where that puts him, Patrick Mahomes has 2,017 yards for 15 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Ladies and gentlemen, those are identical numbers. Almost identical.
I think Kirk Cousins is underrated. I think he.
I'm not trying to say he is the same level as Patrick Mahomes. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that he's better because.
But he's not trash.
I am taking Patrick Mahomes 1,000 times out of 1,000 over Kirk Cousins, but he gets a lot of unnecessary hate and he gets constantly overlooked.
I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Jalen Hurts.
Give me that. Obviously, I'm taking anyone. Give me Kenny Pickett or whoever. I'll take anyone. But
I love me some Kirk Cousins. I love to see him succeed
in prime time.
Nobody wants to see him succeed.
Prime time.
That's okay. You know what? Everybody just wants to see the Eagles succeed, and if that's what y'all want, then that's what y'all can root for. But we're out here rooting for the underdogs.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's what I'd like to end our shows on Under Review. I brought you a quote from Patrick Mahomes. Every experience, good or bad, you have to learn from, and that's the truth.
That is the truth. Hopefully the certain teams can learn from their mistakes this week, and the Cowboys can learn from their mistakes this season as we look to play
on
LA.
a positive side, Dak hasn't thrown any picks this week because the Cowboys didn't play, so it's a thumbs up over here.
We're sad Cowboys fans over here, that's for sure. Thank y'all for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week with another episode of Under Review.